Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester, a congregation striving to nurture spirituality and practice justice for over 150 years. We're a church of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating many sources of wisdom, many spiritual paths, many identities. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your hopes for our world, and your story are welcome here. So welcome to those few souls helping us in person today, up at the organ, at the sound deck, and all around, helping us get ready for opening to more in-person attendance on August 15th. Welcome to all of you joining us online, scattered across the world, or at least across Rochester. We hope our signal stays strong and clear as we venture into this new live streaming service. We're grateful to be live streaming, which will happen each Sunday at 9 a.m., or you can access the service anytime after that. This week and next are our first trials in this new format, and then on August 15th, we'll be opening to more in-person attendance at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. For safety and spacing, we're asking you to register for those services, including for childcare or children's activities. You can sign up through the link each week in the e-news, or you can contact the office for more information. Masks and distancing will be required for our shared safety, and social hour will be between services in the courtyard, outdoors, weather dependent. So for those in person today and in the coming weeks, things will be a little different. The offering will be collected in the sanctuary entryways that you can give to either on your way in or way out, or you can give online anytime at uurochmn.org/give. And for the hymns, we're grateful to our song leader today, Morgan Robertson, for singing. And those in person are welcome to simply listen or hum along or quietly sing. The lyrics are on the back page of your order of service. We're grateful to be moving through this time at this threshold of being live on a Sunday morning here in the sanctuary, which we haven't done for 17 months. We're moving through this time with intention and with care, placing compassion at the core of all we do, drawing the circle wide for our varied risk and our varied comfort. It is good to be on these many paths and to be together. In the words of the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes, minister of this church in the 1870s, may our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light our way. It's good to be together. The Robertson family will light the chalice.
This is the Unitarian Universalist Church. This is the church of the flaming chalice. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the loving heart, where friends come together and share. The hymn is Love Will Guide Us, printed on the back of the order of service.
As we move into this next phase of doing church, I would like to join Reverend Luke in saying welcome to this first live stream. For those watching in real time, it is good to be together. And for those viewing the recorded vision, we feel connected to you, even though it may be at a slightly different time. Over the past few weeks helping prepare for this service, I have been struck by the juxtaposition of our summer theme, play, with the work needed to make this first live stream come off smoothly, or at least we hope with only a few bumps. As with everything in this pandemic world that we have all been navigating, creating worship in COVID times has been a learning experience. While there has always been work involved in planning a meaningful service, from the selection of readings to finding the right music, both instrumental and sung, to preparing a meaningful call to worship, and of course, the thoughtful consideration required to compose and offer an uplifting and sometimes an inspiring Sunday message. There are a lot of moving pieces that come together each Sunday with skill and grace, but for the past 17 months, that work has been complicated. Last Sunday, Beth shared some of what we have learned as we have worked through these distance-based technological challenges. From those first Sunday's services with segments each recorded remotely. And while those remote recordings gave us a nice glimpse into each other's homes, it was a joy to come back into the sanctuary, to be in this sacred space, and to offer a visual connection with the familiar. But that offered its challenges too. As Reverend Luke shared in his behind the scenes segment last Sunday, and if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. There was experimentation with the placement of the hidden mic, camera angles made possible by a tripod propped up on a music stand, and the moving of our chalice table to capture the speaker and our sacred flame in a tighter image. And now today, and next Sunday, more experimentation. This time, today, with just a few mass participants in the sanctuary as we undertake our first trial runs with live streaming. There will be no take two if I flub the reading. This is live. And then the real challenge on Sunday, August 15th, when those who have pre-registered and come Mass will participate together in person with a camera running. Those gathered will have the opportunity to worship in real time with those watching remotely on their personal devices. And while we hope everything will be perfect this first time through, this Sunday and next and August 15th, realistically, probably not. But that will be okay too, because just as our hymn says, our hearts are in a holy place, blessed with love and amazing grace. At the first board meeting of this new church year, I offered a reading for our chalice lighting written by Reverend Kimberly DeBoos. It is entitled, "There Are No Good Opening Words." I don't know if she wrote this poem at the beginning of lockdown when we were reeling from the newness of the pandemic, or many months in when we wondered, would this ever end? Or just days ago when we began talking about multi-platform worship and all that entails. But her words feel right for me right now. In her first stanza, Reverend Kimberly admits there are no good opening words, but her conclusion presents us with hope and a challenge. She writes, "There are no good opening words written long ago or even recently that capture this moment. We are in uncharted territory. Excuse me. We are in uncharted territory, taking up a task that our past selves or our ancestors can only imagine. But here we are. We are the people this moment needs. And so let us take up our work in covenant, in faith, in pursuit of healing and holding. Let our work today be fruitful and helpful. Despite our fears and uncertainties, despite our anxieties and frustrations, let us chart this new course that says we were, we are, and can be again. May it be so. It is good to be together.
Good morning. Normally, pre-pandemic time, this would be the time where we would call the children up to gather in the front so that a story could be read. For now, those listening at home, I would like you to have the children come gather around wherever you are so we can read a story called Kindness Grows by Britta Teckentrup. It all starts with a crack that we can hardly see. It happens when we shout or if we disagree. But with every kindness that we care to show, something good and magical will begin to grow. Friendships can be damaged by a mean or ugly word. Once it has been spoken, it cannot be unheard. Words of encouragement, sweetness, warmth, and care blossom, grow, and flourish as they spread love everywhere. If we leave friends abandoned, sad, and on their own, soon the crack will widen and we'll be left alone. Sharing things with others, making a new friend, will begin a journey we hope will never end. It is so hard to be friendly when all we feel is sad. Sometimes we are thoughtless and we make others feel bad. But a kindly thought or action can make somebody's day. If we keep our friends close by, we won't drive them away. When we argue with each other or refuse to share, the crack grows even wider, but we don't know that it's there. Playing all together is always much more fun. We have a lot of space here for each and every one. Sometimes we are selfish. We shout and stamp our feet, feeling annoyed and angry with everyone we meet. But when we work together, just look at what we can do. Anything is possible when 1 + 1 makes 2. Anger can consume us until we just can't see. the beauty that's around us, the moon, the stars, the tree. If we lean on one another and keep our friends around, we make each other happy, warm, and safe, and sound. The crack has grown so wide now. Can we ever make things right? If we reach out to others, then maybe we just might. It only takes a gesture. A smile can be the start to spread the seed of friendship and touch somebody's heart. Reaching out to others is not as difficult as it seems. If we all join together, we can chase our dreams. Our tree will grow much stronger the more we show we care, built from love and kindness and the friendships that we share. Normally, I would have children in front of me, and we would ask the congregation to sing as they go to their child activities. So for today, I ask that we all sing the children's benediction. The words are in your orders of service.
Good morning. It is so good to be with you from this familiar place. And as we come together in our sanctuary or some still at home, I invite you to settle in as we create a place of communal caring and connection. Be enriched by the presence of each other and draw yourself into the heart of love at this time of service and reflection. In this time together, we ask that our minds be open, our hearts welcoming, and our arms embracing. Here, we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to Robin Taylor, serving as our caring coordinator for the last 2 weeks, arranging care for our members and friends in need. Maggie O'Connell-Nolte will take over tomorrow for the next week, and we thank her for that. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. And this year has taken a lot out of us. It's taken a lot from us. If during this time of increasing needs in our lives, you are experiencing challenges, we encourage you to reach out for support and help. Many of us may need additional care, whether it is personal pastoral care or other assistance, and we encourage you to reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. This morning's flowers are shared by Ronice Donovan in celebration of gathering in our sanctuary once again after so many months. In this community, we share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because all people here have value. Each person's experience matters. We lift up those who are experiencing illness, sadness, or loneliness. May the strength and love in our congregation help guide you. We revel in those who are experiencing joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all, and may their joy filter into all around them. May all of us find love, hope, joy, and healing strength in this community. We hold in our hearts this morning Anita DeAngelis, who shares the sad news of the loss of her brother Rick, living in southern France. He passed away only 2 days after his wife of 52 years, Francois. She died 18 months after being hospitalized with a crippling stroke. Rick's sudden decline with pneumonia after many difficult months took them very much by surprise. As we mourn this loss with the family, we send healing strength and love. And we continue to send healing strength to Jason Hayes. Jason was recently diagnosed with advanced colon cancer and has returned home with Sarah, Ian, close family, and all the dogs and cats by his side. In this time of difficulty and struggle, we hope that they feel the embrace of this community, holding them up along this journey. As we sneak around the corner into our new normal and ease into the future, which will be a new world, we ask for hope and patience, understanding and acceptance, and a renewed commitment of service to those in our lives, our church, and community. As we begin the planning of regathering, we do so carefully and intentionally and with joy. May the faith in the Spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
Invite you to take a breath as I reconnect this microphone. Check 1. That was an experience that happened often before the pandemic, too. We'll look into that. So I invite you now to take a breath. Take an easy breath, this breath of life, which is sacred and precious and tender. Sit deeply here in this circle of love and of justice, of hope and of grace. Know that here in this community you are named, you are known as beloved, as sacred, as welcome. I invite you into this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing silence together. Shared silence has not felt that right for a long time. It's good to not be alone in here. Spirit of life and source of love, God of 1,000 names and beyond all naming, here as this sanctuary wakes to a new Sunday morning, may we be reminded of the ways our souls wake to a new day each day filled with both possibility and pain, sorrow and joy, grief and gratitude. These have been wearying months, and each time it seems that the world might be shifting toward the good, toward healing, toward a new normal. There comes with it some uncertainty, some pain, some loss, reminding us we're still and always on the way, never arrived exactly. May we be reminded that within us and within these walls, there are ancestors, keepers of the flames of love and of hope, who held in their lives and bones both similar and different challenges. May their strength and their resilience that now lives within us guide our way with love, with compassion. We hold in our hearts this day all those who suffer in mind, in body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names you're holding this day, in joy or in sorrow, celebration or concern, and silently or aloud now in this time to speak their names. for all those names spoken, unspoken, and for the many others that are held in the silent grief of this world, may we all be held in love and grace. These words of meditation come from Ann Porter and were shared with me recently, and I think help hold the moment of how we re-enter in this pandemic world. The poet writes, "And then there are all the wounded and the poor, the lonely, whom I have roughly dismissed as if I were not one of them. Remember them. Remember them when winter is over and all your unimaginable promises burst into song on death's bare branches." As we hold these aching months of separation and loss and grief, may our songs of gladness in returning to whatever we are able to return to hold us and hold all that we're holding within us with tenderness, with care, with grace, in our intertwined souls of sorrow and joy and love. Amen. The hymn of meditation is "Comfort Me." The lyrics are in your order of service.
The first reading is "Stay" by Kim Adana-Zoe. So your device has a low battery and seems to drain faster each day. You might feel queasy, but also as if the spatula flattening you to the fry pan has been lifted a little. So your breath comes out scorched. So what? Inside, trust me on this, there is a ribbon of beach by a lake in the sand, fragments of a fossilized creature resembling a tulip. Back in the Paleozoic, online wasn't invented yet, so everyone had to wander alone, miserable through the volcanic waste, or just glue themselves to a rock, hoping someone would pass by. Now you can sob to an image of your friend a continent away and be consoled. Please wait for the transmissions, however faint. Listen, when a stranger steps into the elevator with a bouquet of white roses not meant for you, they're meant for you. The second reading is Here in the Time Between by Jack Riddle. Here in the time between snow and the bud of rhododendron, we watch the robins, look into the gray and narrow our view to patches of wild grass coming green. The pile of ashes in the fireplace, haphazard sticks on the paths and gardens, leaves tangled in ivy and periwinkle lie in wait against our will. This drawing near of renewal of stems and blossoms, the hesitant return of the anarchy of mud and seed, says, not yet to the blood's crawl. When the deer along the stream look back at us, we know again we have left them. We pull a blanket over us when we sleep as if living in a prayer. We say amen to the late arrival of red, the stun of green, the muted yellow at the tip of every twig. We will lift up our eyes onto the trees, hoping to discover a gnarled nest within the branches' negative space. And we will watch for a fox sparrow rustling in the dead leaves underneath.
Maybe you know the experience yourself, or you know it from a scene in a show or a movie of the family or friends huddled on the floor around the old, big, 4-foot radio, or the tiny little black and white TV, listening closely, broadcasting something of enrapturing interest, whether news from across the country or the world, or a favorite radio show at a certain time each week that you cannot miss. You clear the table to get ready for that show and time, or you'll miss it. The magical connection of sound and story and voice traveling as if through the air, because it is, connecting us to the larger fabric of the life in mysterious, life-saving ways. Back in the Paleozoic, online wasn't invented yet, writes the poet. So everyone had to wander alone and miserable through the volcanic wastes or just glue themselves to a rock hoping someone would pass by. It's a little how life has felt in church, in families for a while, gluing ourselves to screens, kind of like rocks or the toads that you find on walls, just glued there, hoping something would pass by, some love, some hope, some connection would take root in you in the absence of being together. At church here, there's always the question of if anyone is really paying attention at all, getting anything out of this. That was true before the pandemic. It's still true now. It's especially pronounced when nobody was here. It's slightly pronounced. I can only see half your face, and who knows where you are all online. But we know that in church, it kind of feels like this old gospel song. Maybe some of you know this. Turn your radio on and listen to the music in the air. Get in touch with God. Turn your radio on. We've been connecting through the airwaves, over the air, across land and distance. And as the poet again says, please wait for the transmissions, however faint they are. The transmissions have been faint, have they not? As we flail our way along, each in our own lives, and in this space here, figuring out this code and this chord, this camera angle, this practice for health and safety, and this, all of it, of course, feeling so long overdue and at the same time far too early, a little unsteady, unsure, like we fired up the radio, the little TV, expecting a signal that would be clear right at the right time. But the storm that's been going on just keeps going on. So there's just enough interruption, enough static, enough flickering of the lights or the cable box, just enough interference, uncertainty for what is our way forward. Or this is for you, younger ones. It's like the turning little circle when the page won't load on the phone or the tablet. It feels like we're just spinning a little bit. Not sure where the transmission, the information, the video, the whatever is going to come through clear. Maybe that's what we've needed to remember all along. The transmissions for some of us in different ways at different times can be quite faint. Maybe we've always been flailing our way through the world. And the static and the noise swirling around us all the time can be so overwhelming to what many in these months have described as languishing or brain fog, having difficulty focusing maybe, or attending to anything with any amount of intention. Or maybe those experiences have just been intensified for folks that had experiences like that already. The static, not only of the external noise of news cycles and political rancor and fear and division, the noise of trying to filter through all those hard things swirling around in this world, it's also internal. It can fill the mind so full, and the soul and the heart, that it's hard to pay attention, hard to find the attention to notice the messages we truly need. Our summer theme, as Anne mentioned, chosen months ago, was play. Maybe an over-optimistic sort of choice for this summer, a hopeful choice at the time. That summertime would be filled with vaccines and health and reconnection and normality, which in some ways, for some people, there's been glimpses of that happening, but we know not universally, of course, and now we're questioning it all with variants and science denial that both seem to be at full throttle in this country. But there is something that in that theme that still feels true to me. So you likely know from your own life or another, or you can imagine it, a child playing, full-on playing, so committed to whatever they're playing, physical out in the world or full-on imagination in their mind, as if they have traveled elsewhere. Their mind and heart and soul is in it, so attuned to playing that any transmission of messages from parents to move to whatever is next or get off the playground or whatever it is quite faint at best to them. Or maybe that, right there, like those children, is what we've been craving. The ability to go all in on something playful, imaginative, joyful. That it creates, even if for a little while, a necessary static to the onslaught of other transmissions seeking to capture our attention. Almost like this counterbalance to the weight of the world. Something that can catch your attention fully enough that you can dive deeply into to help your mind take a break from whatever else is trying to inundate you. I've spoken with a few close friends in recent weeks that the only way they are able to really take some sort of break mentally, soulfully, from the stress of work or the world or family is to have something else compelling enough, strong enough, a counterweight to transport their mind, their heart, their focus somewhere else for a little bit, to take all their attention. Maybe it's an activity they love. Maybe it's a daunting project in the yard or the house. Maybe it's a spiritual practice or something else. But something, whatever it is, that takes enough energy and focus and time to pivot the soul a little bit and say, I'm going over here for a bit, like flipping that sign on the door, be back later. I'm closed for now. When I think of this clearing, this space in our lives, I think of two very literal places not far from here. Some of you may know them. One is an older part of the campground before they redid it at Whitewater State Park on the west side of the highway there, kind of nestled down in the park. The other is a campground our family goes to often near Spring Grove, both among the bluffs and the hills, settled down in the valley, sheltered in some ways, including from the towering signals. It's one of the few places I can go where I simply can't get reception on my phone. It's spotty at best, which is something I'm not really accustomed to. It feels kind of wrong as a minister or as a person in the modern world to not be able to be contacted. It's protected there, those spaces. By the high rock bluffs, there's something freeing and also a little humbling, a little uneasy if there's some horrible storm or emergency or whatever. But mostly it's a beauty, it's a gift to be able to be disconnected, to reconnect in other ways. The physical space itself mimics this connection to the world. And when you drive up the gravel hill from this one campground near Spring Grove toward the farm fields again, there's a small window of space. You know exactly where to expect it, where all the notifications on your phone catch up from the last however long you've been stuck in nowhere. Catching up, the signal clear, it can be overwhelming. Ding, 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 ding. I think that maybe is happening for a lot of folks out in the world more generally right now, is it not? That we're thinking through things like that here at church, that re-entry into regular, strong signals of connection can be overwhelming, like playing catch-up in all these months. How to hold all those updates on some soul level takes some time, and as much space as we need between each other that we've been practicing for months now, we need that space within our soul, that crack where kindness can grow like a tree. Sometimes that break in the steady stream of messages and media is what we need to be able to pay better attention to the important messages that do exist somewhere in those faint transmissions. That while the break isn't about pretending everything is fine, ignoring the world, everything's going to be okay, sometimes we need that space to let the soul process and catch up with what the world's been doing. Maybe it allows a little more space that helps us hold things differently, or realize some support or help that we need, or that change might be necessary to something in our lives. In the midst of it all, perhaps later than we thought, like the poet speaks about in this time in between, Jack Riddle, less pronounced than we thought, more muted in color or vibrancy than we had anticipated, but amidst all the static, beauty still finds its way to us, too. As if living in a prayer, Jack Riddle writes, We say amen to the late arrival of red, the stun of green, the muted yellow at the end of every twig. It's not an easy thing to return to something familiar in unfamiliar ways. Being in this space, live from First UU, it's Sunday morning. Being in this space on a Sunday morning feels so right in the rhythm of the week. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. So strange in the out-of-syncness, though, with the world as it's been. I assumed when we'd come back in this space, it would feel more normal than it does now. But that's the way we're called to be in the world. It's a return in some ways to life before the world altered on its axis of normality, a return to some new way of being. And as the news changes each day, we're wondering, along with everyone around the world, are we really ready for this? Have we waited too long? Have we not waited enough? What is the CDC going to say tomorrow? What is our soul going to say tomorrow? What will the news bring? How will things have to shift back, pull back? How do we do this thing that we have never done before, like we've had to do every month for over a year? How do we change course again and again? How do we pivot with very little space or time to do it? How can we be hopeful for the way forward? Maybe one last thing we're supposed to be learning constantly, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, mid-pandemic, about this being human, about this imperfect world, this unfinished life, about space and play and focus and the in-betweenness of it all, partway there, not there yet, no clear pictures, no interrupted signal anywhere. Maybe it's to remember that whatever we are able to do, whatever hope or grace we can muster, whatever love we can embody, it is enough. That you are enough. That it is enough. We are enough. Whatever we're able to do, imperfect, flailing as we go, it has to be enough because it's what we have. And there are times like this morning, this threshold, that still feels uneasy. But like the poet writes, you might feel queasy, but also as if the spatula flattening you to the fry pan has lifted just a little. I think it's lifting a little. And though the transmissions might be faint, wait for them. They're there. Gather around whatever you need to gather around to pay attention to them. And though the bouquets and the glimpses of beauty around you might not seem like they're meant for you, they're meant for you. Amen. The hymn is in your order of service. It's Wo-Ya-Ya.
But we'll get there. Heaven knows how we will get there. But we know we will. Oh-ya-ya, 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 oh-ya-ya. We are going. Heaven knows where we are going. But we know within. And we will get there.
invite you to stay standing in body or spirit as you're able. Take a breath. Raise your hands to the sky or place a hand over your heart in gratitude for our time together. Wherever you might be gathered online this day, take a breath and know that the transmissions, though they be faint, still come through. Go yonder, and gather the people. Give them not hell, but courage and hope. Give them something of the love you have found here, and tell all the people that love is our home. Amen.